Hello and welcome to Volatile Learning. In this video, we are going to discuss some of the important terminologies used in Java. Our first term is bytecode. Before getting into the topic, what exactly bytecode is, do you know that computer programs are very closely tied to the specific hardware and operating system they run on? Like suppose, a window program will not be able to run on a computer that runs only on DOS. Similarly, a Mac application cannot run on a Unix workstation, and so on. To tackle with diversity of platforms, major commercial applications like MS Word and Netscape Navigator have to be written almost independently for all different platforms they run on. Applications developed with Java, this is not the case. For these applications are platform independent, that is, they are not affected with the changing platforms. Java solves the problem of platform independence by using bytecode. So here comes the introduction to bytecode. The Java bytecode is a machine instruction for a Java processor chip called Java Virtual Machine. Means it is some set of instructions which is further executed by Java Virtual Machine. Know that Java is a platform independent language. It is all because of that bytecode is independent of the computer system it has to run upon. That is, it does not depend upon the computer system. It will be more clear with this diagrammatic representation of bytecode. First, the programmer writes the Java source code. Source code is that program that is a set of instructions given to a computer by a programmer. It is because of this JDK that we have previously installed before starting our code in Java, and hence becomes the Java bytecode, which is further executed by this Java virtual machine and then move to JRE, that is which we can say it is the interpreter which further gives us the output. Next comes the JVM. Programs written in Java are compiled into Java bytecode, which is then interpreted by a special Java interpreter for a special platform. This interpreter is called Java Virtual Machine. This means that Java Virtual Machine is basically a medium for compilation and interpretation of the Java bytecode. That is, we can say that the language which is used for JVM is the Java bytecode. It can be implemented both on the software or hardware. It hides the underlying operating system, that is, the things which are not required to be displayed are abstracted and only the relevant information are visible on the screen. Java combined with Java APIs makes Java platform. Here Java API stands for Application Programming Interface. The Java API are libraries of compiled code that can be used in your program. That means we have a predefined set of libraries which we can easily implement in our program, which will save our time. Now here comes the JDK. As we have previously seen a bit about JDK in our previous video, let us see something more about it. The Java environment includes a number of development tools, classes, and methods. The development tools are a part of the system known as Java Development Kit, and the classes and methods are a part of the Java Standard Library, that is JSL, also known as the Application Programming Interface. Set of tools that are used for developing and running Java program are mentioned over here. The first one is Java C, that is Java Compiler. In Java, we can use any text editor for writing program and then save that program with .java extension, like we will do in our programs when we start coding. Java compiler converts the source code or the program in bytecode, and interpreter converts .java file in class file. And likewise, we have other tools like Java P, Java H, Java Doc, JDB, Applet Viewer for several other purposes. So our next term is object. Before getting into the technical terms, let us just talk generally what in real world object means to us. In real world, an object to us means something which is visible to us or something like towards which we can direct our actions or thoughts. Let's just consider an example. Let us consider an apple as our object. So So we can think of it some characteristics of an apple, like it's a fruit, it's sweet and a bit sour in taste. Similarly, we can think of some other objects, let's say a table. Its characteristics could be it has four legs and its behavior is that we keep things over it. Likewise, in real world we have these objects and these objects have a particular state and behavior. Similarly, we have objects in our programming language also. They also have states and behavior. How do we mention their state and behavior? Their state is maintained through variables or data types, and their behavior is implemented through functions generally called methods, which we are going to discuss further in this video. So I think these examples will lead us to create a clear picture of what actually objects mean to us in our programming language. So we can see here objects are runtime entities which may characterize a location that a program must handle, such as a bank account and a table of data or any entry. It is an instance of a class. We will discuss this point when we study class. Here I have mentioned one more example. Let's suppose laptop is an object which is of a black color and it is used for programming. Here its color will be the state and its purpose of use, that is programming, will be its behavior. It is a real world entity, but we are not going to deal with this. We will see our objects, how we use it in programming language, how they are implemented. Let us just ignore the other part of the code and just focus on how objects are written. So we can see here, this is the name of the class and object is called with the name of the class. First we write the name of the class, object name, new, and again the name of the class. Now here comes the class. Class is nothing but a set of objects with similar properties, common behavior, and common link to other objects. In a simple language, class is a collection of objects of similar type. The complete set of data and code of an object can be made a user-defined data type with the help of a class. The objects are variable of a type class. Classes are user-defined data type and work like the built-in type of the programming language. Once the class is defined, we can make any number of objects to that class. Each object is related with the data of type class with which they are formed. We can understand it better with this diagrammatic representation. Suppose we have mobile as our class and this is the name of our class. Let's say it's Samsung Galaxy. We'll have certain objects like as we have discussed already. Object will have some state, it may have some behavior. So here we can say that these are the different attributes of an object. Say model is one property, color is another, and cost is another. So how do we declare a class? We declare a class with the keyword class. Along with that, we give a name to the class, whichever class we want to create. Let's say we have created here a main class. An important point to note here is that the name of the class should always begin with an uppercase letter. Inside the class, we have several other objects, fields, methods, etc. Now let us move to objects where we have left one point here. That is, object is an instance of a class. We can justify this as once a class is available, we can create as many objects as needed. Just like from JLabel class, we can create as many labels as we want in our application. All these objects materialize an abstraction represented by the class. These objects are called instances of the class. All the instances created with a given class will have the same structure and behavior. They will only differ regarding their state. Next comes the method. The behavior of an object is described through associated functions called methods. Let's say we have an object car. It can perform some operations like accelerating, changing gears, halting, etc. So for the object car, This associated behavior is represented through some methods such as accelerated method, halting method, and so on. And inside the bracket we can see the representation, how the methods are represented along with the parenthesis. Therefore, the methods are an important aspect of objects that we need to add in our representation. So why are they important? They are important to hide the low-level details that confuse the programmer. Also, to allow us to cope up with the complex problems, and also to reuse the portion of codes. Means they increase the efficiency of the code. So this is a simple program wherein we have a class main. We have created a method named myMethod, and we have to print this particular string which is saying, hey, how are you? We will call the method inside the main method by writing the name of the method along with the parenthesis and colon, and we'll get this output printed on the screen. So in a layman's language, a method can be thought of a named unit of a group of program statements. In all, we have discussed bytecode, JVM, JDK, object, class, and method. Out of all these 6 topics, the class, object, and method will forever be used in our programming concepts. So we must remember what these terms means. Now let us have a quick revision of all these terms. Bytecode is produced when the Java programs are compiled. JVM is a Java interpreter. JDK, it provides a set of tools for developing and running Java programs. For object, in short, we can say that object is an instance of class which represents an entity with specific characteristics and behavior. Class can be said of that it is a blueprint defining the characteristics and behavior of a set of similar objects. Next, method. Method is a named unit of a group of program statements.